All right, well, very good late afternoon to everyone. I want to thank you so much for joining us. My name is Senator Ben Allen, and I'm proud to represent the beach cities, most of the west side of Los Angeles, the Hollywood communities of LA County, the 26th Senate District. The last couple of years have brought a lot of uncertainty into our lives, as we all know, and while many of us were trying to navigate the new COVID-19 world, I got a lot of calls from my senior constituents regarding the many targeted scam calls that they were receiving, asking my staff to verify if they were legitimate or not. According to the ARP, people over the age of 60 are 5 times more likely to fall for tech scams. And on average, they'll lose more money than younger victims of scamming, with those over the age of 80 losing more than 4 times the median losses of those in their 20s and 30s, even 2 to 3 times higher than other age groups. This is something that's actually hit some people that are close to me, who've lost a lot of money inexplicably in this to awful scam artists. And so it's one of the many reasons why I wanted to get this panel together. And I'm just really hopeful that with information being key, that you may pick some piece of information up from tonight's panel that will help you be safe, help keep your finances intact, and not run you down a rabbit hole that could be disastrous for you, as I've seen happen to some people that I care about. So we've got an expert panel that will discuss how you can identify and counter potential scams, as well as answering a few of the questions that you've already submitted to us. We've got some great people. So we've got Kevin Durawa, who's from the Contractor State License Board, Jackie Wiley from the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, and Zulemi Gonzalez of the Department of Insurance. If you've got additional questions during the webinar, please post them in our Q&A section here on the Zoom if you can. If time allows, we'll go back and have our panelists answer them at the end of our program. But without further ado, let's get started on the program. I'd like to introduce Kevin Durawa from the California Contractor State Licensing Board. Kevin, take it away.
Thank you, Senator Allen. And piggybacking on what Senator Allen just discussed, it's really important to have these seminars for seniors, because unfortunately seniors are targeted by scammers, especially unlicensed individuals such as contractors. Let me share my slide here. Again, my name is Kevin Durawa from Contractor State License Board, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. So, Contractor State License Board, we protect California consumers by licensing and regulating the state's construction industry. We actually license more than 290,000 contractors in 45 different classifications. So as Senator Allen mentioned, seniors are targeted by scammers. Unfortunately, unlicensed individuals also target seniors. Part of the reason why is seniors are very trusting, and that makes them more vulnerable to scams. Also, unlicensed individuals will try to manipulate seniors and establish connections with them to take advantage of them. Some of the biggest scams we see at Contractor State License Board involve unlicensed individuals asking seniors for a very large down payment up front. Under California law, the down payment for any home improvement project must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever is less. Here's something that's ripped from the headlines just this week that I thought was really interesting. It's out of Greensboro, North Carolina, but it really caught my attention. A man who's got 10 years, sentenced for 10 years, he was stealing $3 million from seniors on home repair schemes. Oftentimes on the checks, he would ask the seniors, his customers, to leave the 2 lines on the checks empty. He would then fill those lines in with his wife's name so he could deposit those funds into her own account in a separate account. Also in this story, one of the neighbors wrote this unlicensed individual a check for the project. He knew that she wasn't of right mind, maybe starting to be a little demented. He went back and asked her for another check. So he victimized her not once, but a second time. And she unfortunately did give him another check. Again, this unlicensed individual didn't complete any of the work he was contracted to do. And prosecutors say that he would form relationships with these seniors, calling them mama or papa. We can learn a lot from these real life scenarios, and that's what I'm trying to get you to thinking about today. Some other common scams we see at Contractor State License Board are door-to-door sales and pressure tactics. You might get a knock on your door from someone who you haven't hired, but they might say that they're in the neighborhood and they have extra materials on their truck. and they're willing to give you a good deal today, but you have to act now. You have to give them money up front, and they can resod your lawn with extra materials on their truck. You don't know if this individual is licensed or unlicensed. You have no way to check competing bids to see if you're getting a good deal or not. You don't even know what materials this person may use on your property. So, and it's always not a good idea to hire someone who knocks on your door. What I tell seniors is, if someone I don't know is knocking on my door, I don't even open the door. I say, that's very nice. Leave your information on your front step, and I'll call you later if I'm interested.
Unless they're a politician asking for your vote, right?
That's right. That's right. If they're getting you to register in Senator Allen's district, then you answer the door. Another common scam we see at Contractor State License Board are some scare tactics. Someone may knock on your door and say, hey, I'm offering free home inspections today. And you let them in thinking, oh, great, it's free. All of a sudden, they start to notice all these problems with the interior of your property. They might notice, cracks in the ceiling or in the wall. They might say your faucet's dripping or leaking. And then they try to get you on the hook for all these repairs that you probably don't need, and repairs that probably won't be done up to standard, especially if they're unlicensed. Other common scams involve verbal agreements. We want you to get all your agreements in writing in the form of a contract. When you start to make these verbal agreements, you'll notice sometimes the prices of materials will change during the job. Another reason why you want to get everything in writing. Of course, this is happening with greater frequency during the pandemic. You may start a job and the price of the materials may go up. You'll have to get a change order. You have to get that change in writing on your contract and have yourself initial it as well as a contractor. And again, never pay in cash. Pay with a check and save a copy of your check in a project file. Going back to that real world scenario that I mentioned, if that senior would have had a copy of that check, she could have gone back and looked and said, you know what, I already paid you. I paid you on Thursday. I have a copy of the check. That could have protected her there. What can you do if you've been scammed by an unlicensed contractor? Please call CSLB and get a complaint form, 1-800-321-CSLB. You can also go to our website and click on the file a complaint button right there on your screen. You have 4 years from the date of your construction project to file a complaint. That's important to know. So if it's been 2 years since you've had that work done and you're upset with the way it went, or you feel that they overcharged you, you still have time to file a complaint with us. And if you fell victim, you feel you fell victim to one of those scare tactics or high pressure scams I was just telling you about, you have 5 days to cancel a contract. That protects seniors. Seniors ages 65 and older have 5 days to cancel a contract, okay? Here's another example on our website of where the file complaint button is if you want to file a complaint with CSLB. So why should you use a licensed contractor? Well, licensed contractors, they've passed trade and law exams and they have undergone background checks. Licensed contractors are required to hold contractor bonds and have workers' compensation insurance for all employees. That is critical because workers' compensation insurance, it covers worker injuries while on the job, which protects you as homeowners. If a contractor doesn't have workers' compensation insurance and one of that contractor's employees gets hurt on the job, you may be liable for those injuries. You get greater consumer protection when you hire a licensed contractor, and you have more options with CSLB. We can step in with negotiation, mediation, and arbitration. These services are always free to you. California law also requires the use of licensed contractors for any home improvement job that costs $500 or more. The contractor can't break this project up into separate, smaller payments. If the total costs $500 or more, you should be using a licensed contractor. It's easy to find a licensed contractor. We recommend you ask your friends and family if they've worked with anyone that they like. And then once you find out the names from your friends and family, check the license. You can also use our Find My Licensed Contractor tool on cslb.ca.gov. You can also get this information by calling our call center at 1-800-321-2752. Here's an example of our website, how it works. You click on Find My Licensed Contractor. And you can type in your city of residence or your zip code and choose from this drop-down menu what type of contractor you're looking for. Fencing, concrete, landscaping, etc. And you'll get a list that you can print or download of contractors in your area with that holding that license classification. Please protect yourself when hiring a licensed contractor. Get at least 3 bids in writing. Ask for references and check those references. Call up the people and ask them if they're happy with the job they were done. If possible, try to see the work in person. Ask if you could FaceTime these people and have them just show you on their phones the work before you hire them. When you meet these contractors for the first time, ask to see their pocket license. It'll be a laminated card, size of a credit card. It looks like this. And I want you to compare the name on the license with a picture ID, like a driver's license. That's because, unfortunately, unlicensed individuals do steal the license number of other licensed contractors. So they'll claim their license and they're really not. So you want to compare this pocket license with a picture ID. Again, please get 3 bids. While you're getting these 3 bids, ask if they have employees. If they have employees, remember, they need workers' compensation insurance. Don't ever feel pressured to make a decision. Tell the contractor you're going to get at least 3 bids. You don't need to sign any kind of estimates. It's not a contract. When you're helping fill out a written contract, only the contractor who holds a license or a home improvement salesperson also registered with CSLB can negotiate and sign a contract. Be very careful if you're handed a tablet or electronic contract to sign. That's usually a sign that you could be scammed. Those kind of electronic contracts on tablets can be altered after you sign them. You must be given a written copy of the contract signed by you and the contractor before any work begins. The contract should also include a progress payment schedule, and it should also identify subcontractors and material suppliers so you can ensure they've been paid. The contract should have start and completion dates and those change orders that I mentioned. The progress payment schedule is important. You should only be giving the contractor half of the money when half of the job is completed. Money is your leverage when you're working with contractors. CSLB does receive quite a few solar problems, and we have a solar task force and a solar smart page on our website. If you're going to think about doing a solar project, make sure you're asking if solar is right for you. You should be thinking about how much more time you're going to be spending in your home. If you spend for 5 more years in your home, you want to be spending at least 5 more years in your home before you consider a solar project. Do the math with any kind of solar project. You want to look at your monthly statements and find out when you're going to break even and actually start saving money. Solar is not free. You should be aware of financing programs that include PACE, Hero, Chief, or Real loans. Oftentimes they might pack high interest rates, which you're not aware of, that are tied to your property taxes. Make sure you have control over your payments, get everything in writing. And while you're getting into a solar project, you have a financing estimate and disclosure document. You should get that and sign that while you get the contract before any work begins. Again, please remember to protect yourself. Use the Find My Licensed Contractor tool on our website, cslb.ca.gov. You can always check the license of any individual using our instant license check on our website or by calling 1-800-321-CSLB. Please remember, if you're going to remember one thing from today, the down payment to any contractor must be no more than 10% or $1,000, whatever's less. And please don't let the payments get ahead of the work. Money is your leverage when working with contractors. If you want to call CSLB, you can call us 1-800-321-CSLB. You can also email us social@cslb.ca.gov. That's it for me. We'll answer questions at the end. I'd like to pass things off now to Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, Jackie Wiley.
Just a couple quick, can I just ask you just a couple super quick questions, Kevin? Can you'll provide the slides that we can email out to all the registered participants?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll make sure that Alina gets a copy of the slides and she'll be able to share that.
We'll make sure to send that out to everyone. And then one little question that came up on the chat. If someone is an unlicensed contractor, can you still file a complaint against them on that site, or does it not work on your site?
You can file a complaint. We have less leverage over what we can do with an unlicensed contractor. We can't obviously threaten to take an unlicensed contractor's license away. They're not licensed. We can find different ways to try to get you your money back, but it's a lot more difficult for us to step in and help a consumer when you hire an unlicensed contractor.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you. And we will send not only the slides out, but also a recording of this to all of the registered participants so you can have this information at your fingertips. Thank you so much, Kevin. Super helpful. I think we're going on to Jackie next.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Kevin. As always, I always learn something new from you. I'm Jackie Wiley with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. And let me go ahead and share my slides with you. Don't want that to happen. Okay. And most of you are probably wondering who we are and what we do. We are formerly the Department of Business Oversight, and effective January 1 of 2021, Governor Newsom signed the California Consumer Financial Protection Law into play, which changed our name. So that's now why we are the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. We are California's licensing and regulatory agency with oversight of state financial institutions, products, and professionals, such as chartered banks and credit unions, California finance lenders, California residential and mortgage lenders and servicers, consumer and commercial loan companies, payday lenders, and escrow companies. And with the new law coming into play, we have now added some more industries that we are regulating, and that is including debt collectors, rent-to-own contracts, and credit reporting agencies. And what is the role of the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation? We enforce laws and regulation to the industries that we regulate. We're collaborating and partnering with other state agencies, federal agencies, and local agencies that are ramping up consumer protections. And with the ramp up, it gives us more authority to help with consumer frauds and scams. And that's how we are able to increase our consumer awareness to help protect consumers from predatory businesses, unfair, deceptive, and abusive practices. So how are we getting this information out to the consumers, especially since the pandemic has come into play? The FPI promotes financial literacy, and this is what I'm doing this evening. I'm promoting a free presentation on various topics through virtual presentation and webinars. And we also have great educational publications that are available for distribution. Not only are our target audiences our seniors, we also do presentations for military, new Americans, and for homeowners. So our financial topics are very vast, and we have great information on our website pertaining to that. Financial fraud, we also promote consumer awareness, consumer alerts, news reports, and our advisories. So you can find all that great information on our website. And one of the things that we are really heavily promoting is to stay connected with us. You can receive emails, alerts, and to find out what the DFPI is up to, information about different scams, press releases, and issues that we have tackled with other agencies to combat some of these frauds and scams that are targeting everyone. And we're also on social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So I'm part of the roadshow a lot with Kevin, and you just heard from him. He's with the Contractor State License Board, and they license and regulate the contractors. So people are at home, and a lot of people are doing home improvements, and many may be seeking financing and may be approached about the PACE programs. And what is PACE? PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. And this is a program to provide homeowners help to finance, listen, energy efficient and water saving improvements to their property. I stress that because we are finding that these contractors will come into your home and they'll say, oh, wow, maybe you want to update your cabinets. Maybe you want to update your countertops. That's not energy efficient. So that does not fall under the PACE financing contract. So don't get roped into that. I'm always going to say throughout this presentation, do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. Like Kevin said, and I'm going to reiterate, the PACE program, the administrations are licensed and regulated by us. But I want you to understand that this program is not free. Consumers should be educated about this program before entering into a finance agreement so that they can understand the project and how the repayment works. What we're finding out is that consumers are actually signing up for this, and the pitch is always, oh, there's no out-of-pocket cost to you, that you don't have to put up any upfront money. You have to stop and think to yourself, well, who's paying for that? So again, it's not a free government program because they're advertising it as that, but it's attached to your property taxes. So we're seeing a lot of home improvements that are starting to look just like this. They're incomplete, unfinished, and the contractors are walking away from the jobs. So before you sign the contract, be sure to check the license of both the contractor and that would be with the CSLB, and then with the lender that you're thinking about doing business with, and that would be with our agency. And here's our website about PACE right here. As you know, COVID has given a lot of people a lot of financial setbacks and have made it very hard for some homeowners to make their mortgage payments. So if you're having trouble making your home mortgage payments, or if you're facing foreclosure on your home, consider this. We always have to remember that there's always some type of option that we can use. But the first and foremost, you should always go to your servicer. We are the agency that license the lenders and our mortgage servicers. So if you remember that there was a moratorium that was put in place when the pandemic hit, and people were kind of like deferring their mortgage payments, and now that has ended. So a lot of people are struggling to catch up with those payments. Always start with your source first. So begin with your servicer and find out if they can help lower your payments. You also know that you have rights, okay? And what options? There are a lot of options that you have. So you can seek that information. You can seek that information by contacting maybe a HUD counselor to help you with doing a budget, but that information is here also. And then lastly, I wanted to just point out that the California Housing Finance Agency is offering, or they have roughly $1 billion in mortgage relief fund. So there are mortgage relief options and resources are available to those who are struggling, if you know anybody that's in that way. So let's get into the meat of it. Sometimes we get a phone.
Jackie, but before you do so, everything's it's so fantastic, lots of web stuff. What about for those seniors that are not fully comfortable with the internet and social media and all the rest?
There's phone numbers that we can provide. I can provide that in the chat, or I can send it to Olani, so that there are toll-free numbers. You can call me and I'll have my information at the end. And I'm going to talk about one of our booklets that has great information or resources with the website, as well as the phone numbers for different governmental agencies. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so millions have suffered financially due to the COVID, and many have and continue to fall victim to pandemic-inspired frauds and scams. You'll get a phone call, you see the caller ID, you don't know whether it's a scam. Should I believe them? Should I not believe them? So we're going to talk about some of those pesky phone calls that a lot of us get all day and every day, and how we can prevent from becoming a victim of fraud, okay? One of the things that I need everybody on this line to understand, that when these scammers call, if they texting or if they're emailing you, the main goal is to get our personal information and to drain our accounts, okay? So let's talk about some of these phone scams that, and the list can go on, but I wanted to put these up. They're common scams, but these are also scams that have been inspired by the pandemic. A lot of us are home. The scammers know that we're home, we're struggling, we're looking for financial relief. And sometimes someone calls with an opportunity and you don't stop and think or verify your information. And it's very important to verify the information before you write a check, send out money, or do anything. Verify, do your homework before you make a move. So I want to talk about some of the scams that we are hearing about, the ones that are trending. I'm sure people have received, and my mom just got this phone call the other day when she answered the phone, the person just said, "Hi, Grandma." And she said, "Don't call here anymore." And I don't want to say the language that the person used. He cursed her and then he hung up. He then again attempted to call 15 minutes later. So we have individuals who are posing as relatives or grandparents, and that scam has been around for a very long time. So be mindful if someone calls you and tells you, "Hey, Grandma," don't say the name like, "Ben, is that you?" You have just provided them with the name, and they're going to continue to go on with the scam. So we don't want to do that. They'll call and they'll tell you that your grandson, "Hey, Grandma, I'm in trouble. My friends and I, have been arrested. We need you to send money right away. I'm going to actually let you speak to the arresting officer. He's standing right here. Because if you send the money right away, he's going to let us go." They will actually put another individual on the line posing as an officer to make it sound even more believable. But before you bite into that, please hang up. You can say, let me see what I can do, or whatever the case may be, but verify that the relative, your grandchild, or whoever it is home, and not in custody someplace before you send over the money. And God forbid someone tells you to go to the store and get a Visa card, come back and scratch the number off the back of it, and provide that number to them. We've had people being told to go and get $500 worth of Visa cards, $100 per card, come back, scratch the number, tell me the numbers, and then they're getting paid like that. So if anyone ever tells you to go and do that, to pay a bill, to pay anything, that that's a red flag sign. So be mindful of these grandparent and these relative scams that are popping up. Social Security. I'm getting voice messages telling me that my Social Security card has been compromised. My Social Security card was used in a different state. We all know that the Social Security Administration will never call you. So please remember, if you get fearful, and all these calls are very frightening, don't believe that. Don't call the number that's left on your answering machine. Call the Social Security Administration to verify it. Go to the source, okay? COVID kits vaccines. Now, I know everybody in the world has seen the advertisement and know that you can get the home COVID kits, right? And they're free. I haven't gotten mine yet. It's 4 per household. There are people who are preying on us and saying that they can get the kits for you. You just have to pay such and such. You don't need to be in a rush to do that. You should never have to pay if something is being offered from free, especially through the government. Go to the legitimate site. Same with the vaccines. We're seeing so many pop-up vaccines right now where you can go and get your shots done. Be careful. We have people who are popping them up and doing it, but they're getting the money for it, all right? Go to the reputable sites. Go to your hospital. Go to your doctor's office, but be careful about these pop-up sites, right? Financial relief opportunity. Oh, let me say this. One of the latest scams that I just heard about where people were going around door to door, and they were saying how they had the most efficient masks. But so you'll say, oh, it's free? Sure, I'll take one. But then they went even further and they said, oh, well, why don't you try it on for me to see how snug it's fitting? I don't know if you've heard about the masks. The cloth masks are not as good as the ones that look like the medical mask, and some have the openings on the side. So now they want you to have it really snug. So the person is going around with these offering you the free mask, but then they want you to try it on. They have chemicals on the mask. And so if you try the mask on, it knocks you out, and then they can have access to your home and rob you. So please be mindful about entertaining anybody at your door and everything. Remember, all free is not good, okay? Financial relief opportunities, you see things on television, you're getting phone calls, maybe you want to lower your APR for your mortgage, your credit card because or your car payment. Remember, if they called you with the opportunity, please be mindful that that's a red flag sign. Don't call. If you did not initiate the call from your credit card company, you don't know who's really calling you, okay? So be mindful that financial relief opportunities can get us into a debt trap, okay? And again, providing our personal information. Another scam that we're hearing about that I wanted to point out is utility scams. Hi, this is Jackie calling from DWP. And oh my goodness, Ms. Wiley, I see that your bill is overdue. I'm calling from the delinquent department, and I'm calling to let you know that by 5 o'clock, if you don't pay the bill, that all of your electricity is going to be turned off. People start getting into a panic about that, but stop. If you know that you paid your bill on time, they're not calling you. Could you imagine all of the people who are late paying their bills, that they would get a phone call from any kind of utility company to say, hey, I'm calling to remind you that you didn't pay your bill. You're going to get that information in the mail, and it's going to say in red, past due. So don't fall for that, okay? I don't care if it shows on the caller ID that it is a reputable company. Remember, the girl from the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation said, if they're calling me, I need to have a red flag sign, my light bulb on, and be cautious. Tech support. If you're not on the computer and you get an email or a text message from someone saying your computer has been hacked, or has a virus, it's frozen, and we can help you, that's kind of like that ransom malware question that I saw. That's what it is. It's basically someone saying that they're attacking your computer, that there's a virus that has been caught onto your computer, but we can fix it right now for $500. First of all, we've had people who've gotten that email and they're not even on the computer. So how do you know that my computer is being attacked? So just think about things like that. Bogus copycat sites. I wanted to end with this with the phone calls. Government imposters. We have people who have pretended to be a part of our agency, saying that they work for a particular escrow company or a lender company. And again, that's to gain personal information. It's tax time, people. If you're using TurboTax or whatever you're using to do your taxes and you're doing it yourself and you're working online, watch the link. Be careful of the extensions. There are a lot of copycat sites out there that are popping up. And you're probably saying in your head, what's a copycat site? Let's talk about that. I'm going to talk about that in my next slide. And I have to say, the romance and sweetheart swindles have heightened so much. I have a best friend whose mom is being taken right now by an individual who, is loving her and, swooning her. And the mom is cognitive. She's not, out of her mind or anything, but she's lonely. So she's welcoming this information. She got the phone. She's excited because she's on Facebook. So when we get to learn about new technology, us older adults, we get excited about that. So they're telling her to send money. They're asking her, does she have cryptocurrency? Let me tell you how to use Robinhood. Let's get off of the site so that no one is tracking our information and your family doesn't know that we're communicating. So if you are lonely, widowed, and looking for love, don't look for it on the internet. Okay, that's my advice for that. Right? Because you can't have a relationship with a person that's over the computer, who's never going to come and see you. Cyber safety. We know that many Californians are using alternative digital methods. So people are doing online services. We are banking. We are ordering shopping online. So if you are banking online, checking your accounts, you want to be mindful about your PIN number and try to change your password all the time. And one of the things that I had to say to myself, if I'm checking that, log out. Don't forget to sign out so that your stuff is just not hanging out there in the air. Credit card and debit cards, we want to treat these like our Medicare cards, like a Social Security card. We want to protect that information as much as possible. So if you're using those things online, you need to know how to have a secure network. And that means that when you're on there, you should be seeing this S after the HTTPS, which means secure, okay? So be mindful that, or you'll see a lock that's closed on the site. So make sure that you see this and this before you order online or open up any kind of online applications. Right now, a lot of us are using the two-step verification when we're doing things on our computers or on our cell phones. And what that two-step verification is, it's basically, saying, okay, you put in your password, but now I need you to put in this code number if this is you or something. A two-step authentication to verify who you are. So if another person doesn't have that second step, then they can't get into your account. So think about that. And let's talk about Facebook, people. Come on, let's limit our personal information. I'm excited for you that you're going to Hawaii and that you're going to be there for 10 days and that you're actually leaving on February 9th. And oh my goodness, you won't be back until February 15th. You just put all your business out on Facebook. Even my kids, I tell them, stop taking pictures when you're out and posting them right away. People are robbing, they are breaking into homes. Don't put so much information, limit your personal information when you're online. Changing passwords, I spoke about that before. Let's start changing them more frequently than we used to. Okay, let's try giving them a run for their money. They can't keep up with you if you're changing it frequently. And I have to write my stuff down, so that, there's so many things that you need a password for. Write it down, but keep it in a safe place. So protect your social security number, credit card, debit cards, and PIN numbers, okay? And when I want to also say this about a copycat site, if you're up here and I'm doing something from Amazon, and this is a true story, an individual actually ordered something from Amazon, and she didn't pay attention to the .com, C-O-M, and she got an email saying, oh my goodness, there was a problem with your information. Please re-enter your shipping and your credit card number. And she did it without paying attention. But when she realized it was too late. It was Amazon.con, C-O-N. So again, hover, make sure the S and the lock is there, okay? I know I've given out a whole bunch of information, but let's talk about some defense tips that we can do. That telephone, that's simple, just hang up. Don't call the number that's left on your machine. Go to your source yourself, okay? Again, if it shows up IRS and you're saying, oh, it's the IRS calling, again, you don't know who's really calling you because it's an incoming call. If you didn't initiate it, that is a light bulb that you should be paying attention to. Check with your phone company to block or set up scam likely calls. And you can go to No Mo robocalls. Contact your phone company and say, hey, you know what? I want to see if you have no more robocalls. Some of the cell phones, most of the cell phones, when a phone number comes in on my cell phone, it'll tell me scam likely, and I'll just delete it. I don't even answer it. Okay, I know people get sick and tired of hearing about the do not call registry that is administered through the Federal Trade Commission. That's good for 5 years on your home phone and your cell phone. And it does work, but it helps them to identify the same pattern of call from an individual, okay? But they're good. They can be saying the same thing, but calling from a different number, okay? So I know that we're always going to get some type of solicitation phone calls, and we have to get into the mindset and the habit of not answering it when you don't recognize the call. All right.
And the thing is, Jackie, I mean, the folks who are the spammers who are playing by the rules are the ones who don't call you once you're on the do not call list. But there's all these fraudsters that they're acting so illegally, they don't care about the do not call list. They're getting your number and they're calling you. So
absolutely. And I have a saying, the bad ones make it bad for the good ones. Does that make sense? The bad ones make it bad for the good ones because now we don't know who to trust.
Right.
So online, change your passwords. Remember to log out and be cautious with technology. If you don't understand what you're doing on your cell phone, talk to your kids, talk to your grandkids. They know better than we do. Internet, email, or text message. Again, pay attention to that extension and hover over that link and make sure that the site is secure by seeing that lock or that S, okay? And of course, we know not to click on unknown text and emails. Mail, shred, don't drop your mail in the mailbox after the last pickup. We still have people who are dumpster divers and going around checking mailboxes and pulling out mail. So be mindful of that. If you're shopping online and you're expecting a package, please remember that and take it off of the porch before someone else takes it off of there for you. I always mention credit versus debit transactions. A lot of times people are not taking cash, especially when the pandemic was early on. And when you're using your debit card, say credit, where you don't have to punch in your PIN number. This gives less chance of a skimmer, which is a device that's can't be seen, and alleviating that information. So when you're swiping that debit card and you punch in your PIN, say, oh, I want to do credit, please. And you press that 0 or that green button. Monitor and freezing out credit. If you are not establishing new credit, put a freeze on it. It's free to do it. If you need it, you can lift it. And lastly, I want to say something about us check writers. There's something called an anti-fraud PIN, and it's suggested to prevent check washing. If someone steals your check, they can dip it in a solution which is easily bought. And with the check writing prevention gel pen, you can prevent that. That is actually purchased at Staples and Office Depot, things like that, okay? And so if you also are a victim of identity theft, the Federal Trade Commission is the excellent agency, the federal agency to report it to. This is the booklet that I want to talk about. This is our Protect Yourself from Fraud booklet. It comes in English and Spanish, and all our materials are free. We do have this current version available, and inside it has some of this information that I've talked about today. And it also has a resource guide in the back of the book with the name of the agency, what their responsibility is, the website, as well as a number that you can call. Okay, so how can the DFPI help you? To learn about us, you can go to our website. When you call our call center, we have live representatives who answer the phones, okay? We're able to tell you whether the agency, the person or the organization that you're thinking about doing business with is properly licensed, because everybody has to be licensed in California to do business. So we can tell you whether they are or not. You guys are our eyes and our ears. So if you know somebody is breaking the law, let us know about that. We can also help you file a complaint. And if we're not within the jurisdiction of your complaint, we can send it to the appropriate agency to get it handled. If you have a simple question, if you're not sure, I'm not sure if this is a scam, I don't know, send us an email, ask DFPI, okay? Again, if you're interested in the publication, hit me on outreach@dfi.ci.gov. If I haven't said anything today, the bottom line, number one, trust your instincts. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Number two, never give out your personal information unless you initiated the contact. And three, always start with your source. Go to your source yourself, okay? And here is my name and email address. And I do have a new cell phone number, but I'll put all of that information in the chat, okay? Thank you for allowing me to share. Zulemi, up to you.
Thank you, Jackie. It's great.
Thank you. Mhm.
So helpful.
How can I stop?
And really despicable how some people are trying to take advantage of other folks.
It's really sad, and it just gets worse and worse every day. So we can only do our best by being proactive and become empowered by the information that we're here to provide for you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much. It's really, really helpful.
You're
All right,
welcome.
let me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. And like someone mentioned on the chat, great information for all ages. So I'll be on the lookout for all of that as well. Thank you so much. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sulaimi, and I'm an outreach analyst with the Department of Insurance. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today to discuss senior fraud. I'd like to start with a brief overview of the Department of Insurance, discuss common insurance scams, and how you can protect yourself, and then I will close with resources available to you from CDI. Next slide, please. So the California Department of Insurance is also known as CDI. It is a state agency which regulates the insurance marketplace. We regulate all lines of insurance, homeowners, auto insurance, life, health, just to name a few. And we have over 1,400 dedicated CDI employees to oversee thousands of insurance companies and about 500,000 insurance agents and brokers who sell insurance in the state. We enforce insurance laws of California and have the authority over how insurers and licensees conduct business. Think of CDI sort of as the insurance police. So all of our department's functions revolve around protecting consumers. These include overseeing insurer solvency, licensing agents, brokers, and conducting market conduct reviews, resolving consumer complaints, and investigating and prosecuting insurance fraud. California has the largest insurance market in the United States and the fourth largest in the world. California insurance companies collect over $340 billion in premiums every year. As a consumer, if you ever have a problem with your insurance company, agent, or broker, you can call us for help. Next slide, please. So who heads CDI? Well, Prop 103 passed in 1988 by voters allows Californians to directly elect our insurance commissioner. In 2019, voters elected Commissioner Ricardo Lara to head the department. And since assuming office in 2019, Commissioner Lara hit the ground running and hasn't looked back. Here is just a snippet of actions taken by Commissioner Lara over the last year to protect Californians, especially during this health and economic pandemic. Over the last year, CDI hosted 275 virtual town halls and community events. When the pandemic was first declared as a national emergency, Commissioner Lara quickly realized that Californians aren't driving as much, so he ordered insurance companies to issue partial premium refunds on auto policies, which you may have received. This yielded financial relief for many of us. This order has returned $3 billion for Californians, the most in the nation. And as CDI not only enforces laws, but also serves as an investigative body, our team investigating consumer complaints over insurance company practices has been able to obtain over $134 million for consumers in 2021 alone. Next slide, please. So with all that said, the purpose of our presentation today is senior scams. We know that seniors are the largest population targeted for scams, and you may ask why. Well, it's because, simply put, seniors have bank accounts and savings. You may have money accumulated in your homes, money in life insurance, retirement savings, and sometimes seniors do not have loved ones looking out for them. And someone wants to steal a piece of your hard-earned money. Lastly, most seniors are just too nice. You have time and want to talk with people, even strangers, but do not be discouraged. The good news is that there are a lot of protection programs for seniors. Next slide, please. So you may ask, what are some of the types of insurance scams you should be aware of? One of the most popular scams involving insurance are annuities. Why? Because Californians spend an average of $20 billion on annuities. So as you can see, there is a lot of money to be made by scam agents. Essentially, an annuity is a contract between you and an insurance company. You buy the annuity by making one or more premium payments, and in return, the insurance carrier makes income payments to you for a fixed period of time in the future. It's often used as an investment vehicle for retirement income. It's sold by licensed insurance agents, usually with financial background. And one of the benefits of the investment is that growth in annuities is tax deferred. But annuities are not right for everyone. Why? Because usually there is a 7-year surrender charge. There is a big penalty for you to take your money out and if you need it, and maybe in case of an emergency. But agents love to sell it because of the big upfront commission. A common scenario in senior fraud happens when a CN agent gets you into an annuity, then 12 months or 18 months later calls you and says they found a better annuity for you and you need to switch now. What does that mean to you? You may be hit with a penalty for early withdrawal, and you may even have a tax implication on top of it. But it's more of a commission for the agent, and thus fraudsters persist on unsuspecting seniors. However, if you have a financial advisor with whom you've been working with for years, they will know your financial goals, financial picture, risk tolerance. They'll be able to provide the pros or cons of whether adding an annuity to your portfolio would make sense. Do not make decisions to buy an annuity in haste, sleep on it, and think it over with a family member or someone you trust. If annuity is a good deal today, then it will be a good deal tomorrow. Next slide, please. Other common insurance scams include premium theft, stage auto accidents, and now COVID-19 related insurance scams. So a premium theft occurs when you buy an insurance policy from an agent or broker and they never actually place or bind the policy with the insurance company. And you're now thinking to yourself, how can that happen? Well, do you have a receipt? Do you have a copy of the policy? Did you get statement? Sadly, some scam agents, whether they are currently licensed or not, will go to great lengths to steal from you. Let me share the latest arrest and sentencing of an agent in LA County. A former insurance agent from Palmdale sold over $16,000 in premiums from the insurance company where she worked, while leaving many of her clients without insurance coverage. CDI received a complaint from the former insurance agent's employer. An investigation by our team revealed that the agent entered false information into the company's database to avoid submitting clients' funds. She submitted fabricated proof of insurance documents to escrow companies in order to close the sale or refinance of the victim's home. And then she cashed the checks from the escrow companies that were issued for insurance. The former insurance agent also forged clients' e-signatures on insurance policy applications to place other policies at a much later date with another company without her client's knowledge. Her actions left several clients without insurance coverage and resulted in theft of over $16,000. The Department of Insurance revoked the person's license, and Los Angeles County Department of District Attorney's Office prosecuted this case and found her guilty of one felony count of grand theft. She has been sentenced to pay restitution and complete community labor. Another popular insurance fraud is related to staged auto accidents. Staged auto accident fraud. Believe it or not, it still occurs. So let's say you get into an accident and something just doesn't feel right. Please call the police and report it. Report it to your insurance company. Trust your gut feeling. Let's say you're driving down the street that you're familiar with that usually isn't too busy. All of a sudden, the car in front of you stops short and there's a car next to you and you can't move and you end up rear-ending the car in front of you. You pull over and the car that was next to you is gone, but the car you rear-ended pulls up over and the driver gets out holding her neck. Then the front passenger is holding his lower back, and 2 or 3, 4 more people exit the vehicle. Well, something doesn't feel right. So 2 different potential fraud could occur here. If the driver says she's going to do you a favor by not reporting the accident to your insurance company, and you could settle this privately, and she'll even follow you to the bank to get the cash. Stop right there and do not engage. This is fraud. Second scenario, all the passengers claim bodily injury for a minor fender bender and file claims against your insurance company. Now you're thinking, well, that doesn't hurt me. The insurance company is paying, but insurance rates will go up because of the bodily injury claim. This is just one example of a staged auto accident. There are several versions of this. Again, if your gut tells you something isn't right, take a deep breath. Don't feel rushed and make any decisions at the accident site. Do not admit fault and do not tell anyone about your insurance policy or the coverage limits. You do have to exchange your insurance carrier information, but nothing more. Call the police or call your insurance company. Next slide, please. Now let's talk about COVID-19. The past 2 years have been difficult for all of us. Sadly, scammers are taking advantage. There are 5 things that you should be aware of when it comes to COVID-19 scams. Scammers are out there preying on COVID-19 fears by offering COVID-19 tests or cures in exchange for personal information. However, the services are unapproved or illegitimate. Fraudsters are using phone calls, text messages, social media, and door-to-door visits to steal your information. Scammers use the personal information they collect to fraudulently bill federal healthcare programs or commit medical identity theft. If Medi-Cal or Medicare deny the claim, then you could be held responsible for the cost. Number 3, COVID fraud is rapidly evolving. Be cautious of unsolicited requests for personal information, especially Medicare and Medi-Cal account numbers. Never give those out. Be suspicious of unexpected phone calls, texts, or visitors offering COVID-19 tests or supplies. Do not open emails from unknown individuals with hyperlinks and texts about COVID-19. Ignore offers or ads for testing or treatment on social media. Talk to your doctor to get COVID-19 testing or treatment. Lastly, if you suspect fraud, take action. Report it immediately to the Office of Inspector General online, on the website online, or call 1-800-447-8477. Next slide, please. So what are some insurance scam warning signs? Now, we all know the saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Here are some scenarios to watch out for. The agent offers free seminars and sites that assisted living centers, retirement communities, or places of worship, or even nice restaurants. The agent offers to create or update a living trust simply to see your financial information. They are trying to find new clients that can potentially be worth a lot more money to them than the free living trust they are offering you. They want your financial information, and this is up to you to guard it. Remember, there are no senior retirement living trust specialists. This is their own designation. Please know seniors have more rights when it comes to insurance, and it's called Seniors Insurance Bill of Rights. And the full document can be found on our website, which I will add to the chat. And one senior right outlined in the Bill of Rights is that you may review a life insurance policy, annuity, long-term care, or Medicare supplement for 30 days after you receive the policy in order to decide whether you wish to keep it. If you decide you do not want to keep the policy, you can return it for a full refund. Next slide, please. And it looks like we're a little behind schedule. So this is just a way, what can you do to avoid becoming a victim of insurance fraud? Do you want me to keep going, or should I just go ahead to the next slide also? I'll just go over this really quick. Most importantly, just make sure you ask questions such as, what does the policy cover? What is not covered? What is the cost and how often? If I cancel, or are there any sort of charges? Is it suitable for me and my situation? Never feel pressured or intimidated. Consider having a trusted person with you all the time. And simply put, never sign anything you do not understand. Here are some great tips to protect yourself from fraud. Next slide, please. And we have here some important websites for you to visit to report insurance fraud. Next slide, please. The next slide is our Senior Gateway program. It's the page on our website, and it has great resources for you. I'll add this also to the chat. And next slide, please. Here is our contact information for consumers. Our consumer hotline is 1-800-927-4357. We have experts that can assist you in different languages. And for those undocumented, rest assured, we will never ask for immigration status. And you can also visit our website at www.insurance.ca.gov. And that is all for me. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Zulemi. Thank you so much. I mean, once again, really important issues you were raising, and it just gives you a sense of the range of challenges out there that we have to be aware of. So you've all done such a great job that we went over a little bit of time, but I really do want to get to a couple of these questions. So if you'll bear with us, let's get some of these questions answered, and then we'll post the video and get all the information out to everyone as well. So if you have to jump off, we'll make sure the video is available for everybody. We had a couple, the whole just besieged by scammers on the phone. Maybe Jackie, you can answer this. Any tips I mean, obviously I'm hearing, don't engage, don't pick up if it says like a scam suspected on your phone. But let's say you do pick up the phone. I'm sorry. How do you lower the number of scam calls that you get? Is there any way that people can proactively do that, or is it out of our hands? Let me ask you, Jackie.
I personally don't see how anybody can lower the number of scams that they receive every single day, because it's all day and every day. And, if you do pick up the phone because maybe you're not paying attention to the caller ID, or you don't have caller ID, once someone starts talking to offer you an opportunity or starts asking, information, it's always best to just hang up. It really, really is. And like I said earlier today with the FTC, what to do not call, you're still going to get calls. So I don't see anything to lower or stop scam calls. There's another device where, like I said, no-mo robocalls. You can talk to your phone company to try to block the phone numbers that you're constantly getting, things like that. But it's always best to just hang up, especially if you're unfamiliar with the number.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie, this may be best for you too. But Richard from Redondo Beach asked, when utilities are going to go do some work at your house, maybe to check on a leak or something, it's my understanding they will always contact you ahead of time. But can you talk about that process? What are they required to do in terms of reaching out to you through mail or phone call or a text message or something else before they come and do work at your house, so you have a heads up that the work that's happening is legitimate?
I don't know about a utility company calling individuals to say that they're going to be doing work. You may find a notice on your door, which I have done, because it's my house, the second house, the third house. It's everybody on this block. We might get a notice in our door to say that there's going to be some work in the neighborhood. We're going to have to shut the water off for 3 hours or something like that. I would say more so of a notice versus a phone call.
Okay.
That you would receive. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can someone talk a little bit about ransomware? We sent out the invitation to this, and we got a note back from somebody who said that they, just were opening their email, they were surfing the web and they accidentally touched an ad, inadvertently, and then all of a sudden they became the target of ransomware. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and what folks can do to avoid it, what they should do if they find themselves a target of it?
I kind of looked it up because I saw the question in advance, and I spoke about that just a little bit in that where I spoke that tech support, like getting that phone call or that email from someone saying that you have the virus. So the ransomware, it's a malicious software that infects a computer, okay? So the person who touched that app by mistake, that's what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to open it. So this is why we say don't open unknown emails. Don't open attachments to emails that you're unfamiliar with, because that is when that malware or that software virus starts attacking.
Right. Okay. And then if you are ever deep in that rabbit hole, who do you go to? I mean, do you go to who is the tech support you would reach out to? Is it your computer manufacturer or your server provider or who?
That would be my suggestion, versus calling somebody through, a random phone number. You got Best Buy, text like that. But let's just say you are not savvy and don't really say, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Turn it off immediately, and maybe find someone in the family who says, you know what, I need this to go and get checked out. But we also need to purchase virus protection where, so that these type of things can not happen.
Yeah. Well, let me just give a couple little shout outs. I noticed my friend Hara Beck has posted that she's part of this acting program. There's a Stop Senior Scams acting program. They've got YouTube videos. Maybe they can post the link on the chat. Apparently they're very engaging and fun. And it's a fun way of teaching people about some of the very same scams that we've been talking about. There's a couple other good ideas that have been posted to the chat as well, some online resources that people can take a look at if they want to learn more. You know, we really are out of time, but I want to personally thank the speakers, you know, for taking the time to be with us today, giving us so much useful information. It's certainly, you know, opened my mind to a couple of practices that I even engage in that I need to be a little bit more careful about. So I want to thank you for all this really helpful information. You know, for those that are listening, if you ever need help determining if something is real or a scam, you know, please feel free to reach out to any of the departments that presented here today, or you can also give our office a call. We'll post our office line number. You know, we take literally thousands and thousands of calls on a regular basis, just from constituents who are asking questions, dealing with situations like this. And so it's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this presentation, because we were getting so many calls about scams. So I really hope that everyone found some useful tips from the webinar. If you know anyone who wanted to attend but they couldn't make it, or if they want to rewatch parts of the presentation, we're going to be posting the webinar to the website tomorrow. We'll send out an email to everybody who registered for the event with some follow-up information. Thanks so much again to the panelists, everyone for attending tonight. As I say, my staff is very much here to help. Our district office phone number is 310-318-6994, 310-318-6994. Please don't hesitate to call, whether it be on a scam issue or, you know, unemployment insurance, challenges you might be having with the DMV or small business loans. As I mentioned, we've been helping thousands and thousands of constituents through various challenges they've had through the course of the pandemic and scam related issues and other challenges involving the state government. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Thanks to my great staff, Rad and Alina in particular, and Shannon, and a very good night to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.